The Arabian Peninsula, a vast expanse of desert and mountains. Ancient trade routes crisscrossed its deserts, connecting the east to the west. Caravans laden with spices, silks, and precious metals traversed its unforgiving terrain. By the 6th century CE, the Arabian Peninsula was mired in a period of spiritual and moral decline known as Jahiliyyah, the Age of Ignorance. Polytheism was rampant. Idols representing various deities were worshipped at shrines and oases across the land. The most revered of these was the Kaaba, a cube-shaped structure in Mecca, believed to have been built by Abraham. The year was 570 CE. In the Arabian Peninsula, amidst the turmoil of tribal rivalries and spiritual darkness, a child destined for greatness was born in the city of Mecca. His name was Muhammad, and he would become the final prophet of Islam. Life in Mecca was a stark contrast to the open spaces of the desert. The city was a bustling center of trade and commerce, a melting pot of cultures and beliefs. Despite the moral decay that surrounded him, Muhammad grew up to be a man of impeccable character. At the age of 25, Muhammad's life took a significant turn when he entered into marriage with Khadijah, a wealthy and respected businesswoman from Mecca. Khadijah, 15 years his senior, was a woman of great intelligence, piety, and independence. She had been impressed by Muhammad's character and integrity, and she proposed marriage to him, breaking with the social norms of the time. Their union was a testament to their mutual respect and affection. As Muhammad entered his late 30s, his periods of solitude and reflection grew longer and more intense. He would often withdraw to a cave on Mount Hira outside Mecca, seeking spiritual solace and guidance. It was during one such retreat in the month of Ramadan that a profound event occurred, an event that would change the course of history. The angel Gabriel appeared before him, commanding Muhammad to read. Despite his protest, "I cannot read." These verses, the first of many revelations that would form the Quran, marked the beginning of Muhammad's prophetic mission. The message was clear and profound. There is only one God, Allah, the creator and sustainer of all that exists, and submission to his will is the path to salvation. Muhammad returned from the cave shaken but transformed. He confided in his beloved wife Khadijah, who, with unwavering faith, reassured him and became his first convert. The early years of Muhammad's mission were marked by both hope and hardship. His message, with its emphasis on the oneness of God, social justice, and the equality of all mankind, resonated with many in Mecca, particularly the poor and marginalized. Among the first to embrace Islam were Muhammad's close family members and friends. As the number of converts grew, so too did the opposition from the ruling Quraysh tribe. As opposition to Islam intensified in Mecca, the persecution of Muslims reached a fever pitch. Muhammad's followers, particularly those without tribal protection, faced increasing harassment, violence, and even torture. Muhammad encouraged his followers to seek refuge in the nearby city of Yathrib, later known as Medina. In 622 CE, facing imminent danger in Mecca, Muhammad and his closest companion, Abu Bakr, secretly slipped out of the city under the cover of darkness. The Hijrah, or migration to Medina, marked a pivotal turning point in the history of Islam. It signified the establishment of the first Muslim community, or Ummah, a society governed by the principles of Islam. Upon arriving in Medina, Muhammad's immediate priority was to establish a social order based on justice, equality, and mutual cooperation. To this end, he drew up a remarkable document known as the Constitution of Medina. Under Muhammad's leadership, Medina was transformed from a city divided by strife into a thriving community bound by faith and shared purpose. The Prophet's mosque, built adjacent to his humble dwelling, became the heart of the community. Muhammad, now both a spiritual and political leader, oversaw all aspects of life in Medina. His teachings, rooted in the Quranic revelations, provided guidance on all aspects of life. The peace and security that the Muslims had found in Medina was not to last. The Quraysh of Mecca, their pride wounded and their economic interests threatened, refused to let go of their animosity towards the burgeoning Muslim community. They began to harass Muslim traders traveling between Medina and Syria, plundering their caravans and disrupting vital trade routes. Faced with this growing threat, Muhammad found himself in the unfamiliar role of a military leader. The first major confrontation between the Muslims and the Quraysh took place at Badr. Outnumbered 3-1, the Muslims, inspired by their unwavering faith and Muhammad's strategic brilliance, achieved a decisive victory. The Battle of Badr, fought in 624 CE, not only boosted Muslim morale, but also established the Muslims as a force to be reckoned with. However, the Quraysh, driven by a thirst for revenge, were far from finished. After a 2-week siege, during which the Quraysh's resolve began to crumble, a fierce storm, perceived by both sides as a divine intervention, forced the Quraysh to abandon their siege and return to Mecca. The Treaty of Hudaybiyyah, signed in 628 CE, marked a turning point in the relations between the Muslims and the Quraysh. Although seemingly unfavorable to the Muslims at the time, the treaty proved to be a strategic masterstroke by Muhammad. The treaty stipulated a 10-year truce between the two parties, allowing the Muslims to practice their faith freely and focus on their internal development. It also granted the Muslims the right to perform the pilgrimage to the Kaaba the following year, a significant symbolic victory that acknowledged the growing influence of Islam. The Treaty of Hudaybiyyah, though initially met with some resistance from within the Muslim community, who perceived it as a sign of weakness, proved to be a watershed moment in the history of Islam. It ushered in a period of unprecedented growth and expansion for the Muslim community as people from across Arabia, freed from the fear of persecution, flocked to embrace the message of Islam. The Treaty of Hudaybiyyah, though initially perceived as a setback by some, proved to be a strategic masterstroke. With a respite from conflict, the Muslim community flourished. Their numbers swelled, their faith deepened, and their message spread far and wide. The balance of power in Arabia was shifting. Meanwhile, the Quraysh, bound by the treaty they had sworn to uphold, watched with growing unease as the influence of Islam expanded. Their authority, once absolute, was waning. When a tribe allied with the Muslims was attacked by a tribe allied with the Quraysh, a violation of the treaty, the stage was set for a final confrontation. In 630 CE, Muhammad, leading an army of 10,000 strong, marched towards Mecca. The Quraysh, realizing the futility of resistance, offered no opposition. The conquest of Mecca, a city that had once been the epicenter of opposition to Islam, was bloodless. There were no triumphant cries, no acts of vengeance. Instead, Muhammad, with his characteristic humility, rode into the city on his camel, his head bowed in gratitude to God. Upon entering the Kaaba, the holiest shrine in Islam, Muhammad destroyed the idols that had been worshipped there for centuries, reclaiming the sacred space for the worship of the one true God. He then addressed the people of Mecca, many of whom had once been his fiercest opponents. He spoke of forgiveness, reconciliation, and the universal brotherhood of mankind. O people, your God is one and your father Adam is one. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. Also, a white has no superiority over black, nor a black has any superiority over white except by piety and good action. With the conquest of Mecca, the Arabian Peninsula was unified under the banner of Islam. Tribes that had long been at odds with each other laid down their arms and embraced the message of peace and submission to God. The stage was set for the remarkable expansion of Islam that would follow, but Muhammad's mission was drawing to a close. In 632 CE, Muhammad performed his final pilgrimage to Mecca, known as the Farewell Hajj. Standing on Mount Arafat, he delivered a sermon that would resonate through the ages, a timeless message of guidance and inspiration for his followers. He reiterated the fundamental principles of Islam, emphasizing the importance of prayer, charity, and treating all human beings with justice and compassion. He warned against the dangers of division and discord, urging his followers to remain united under the banner of Islam. Little did his followers know that this would be their final farewell. Weeks later, Muhammad fell ill and died in Medina, surrounded by his loving wives and devoted companions. He was 63 years old. The news of his death sent shockwaves through the Muslim community. The man who had guided them from the darkness of ignorance to the light of faith, the one who had united them under the banner of Islam, was gone. But he left behind a legacy that would continue to inspire and guide billions of people across the globe for centuries to come. At the heart of Islam lies a profound and unwavering belief in the oneness of God, Allah. This belief, known as Tawheed, is not merely an abstract theological concept, but a lived reality that permeates every aspect of a Muslim's life. It is the bedrock upon which the entire edifice of Islamic faith and practice is built. To truly grasp the essence of Islam, one must delve into the 6 fundamental articles of faith, the pillars upon which a Muslim's belief system rests. These articles of faith, known as Iman, are not merely tenets to be memorized, but rather guiding principles that shape a Muslim's worldview, their understanding of the universe, and their place within it. The first and foremost of these pillars is belief in Allah, the one God, the creator and sustainer of all that exists. Allah, in Islamic theology, is not a distant deity, but an ever-present, all-knowing and all-powerful being who is intimately involved in the lives of his creation. He is the source of all mercy, compassion and justice, and it is to him alone that Muslims direct their worship and supplication. Belief in Islam, however, is not a passive acceptance of dogma, but an active engagement with one's faith through acts of worship and devotion. These acts, known as the 5 pillars of Islam, are the tangible expressions of a Muslim's commitment to God and serve as the framework for a life lived in accordance with divine will. The first pillar, the declaration of faith, or Shahada, is the gateway to Islam. It is a simple yet profound statement that encapsulates the essence of Islamic monotheism. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. This declaration is not merely a ritualistic utterance, but a transformative declaration that signifies a complete surrender to the will of God and an acceptance of Muhammad as his final prophet. The second pillar, prayer, or salah, is the heartbeat of Islamic worship. 5 times a day from dawn till dusk, Muslims around the world turn towards Mecca, the holiest city in Islam, and engage in a series of ritual movements and recitations, connecting with their Creator and seeking His guidance and forgiveness. Prayer in Islam is not merely a petitioning of God for favors, but a spiritual communion, a moment of stillness amidst the busyness of life, a time to reflect, to be grateful, and to reaffirm one's submission to the divine will. The 5 pillars of Islam are not merely isolated acts of worship, but rather interconnected aspects of a holistic way of life that seeks to integrate faith into every facet of human existence. They are a blueprint for a life lived in balance, a life that recognizes the spiritual dimension of human nature, while also acknowledging the importance of social responsibility, economic justice, and personal growth. The third pillar, zakat, or almsgiving, is a testament to Islam's emphasis on social justice and economic equality. It is an obligatory act of charity, a sharing of one's wealth with the less fortunate, a recognition that all wealth ultimately belongs to God and that we are merely trustees of his bounty. Zakat is not merely a charitable act, but a means of purifying one's wealth, of breaking free from the grip of materialism, and of fostering a sense of compassion and solidarity within the community. The fourth pillar, fasting during the month of Ramadan, is a deeply spiritual practice that fosters self-discipline, empathy, and gratitude. During this holy month, Muslims abstain from food and drink from dawn till dusk, breaking their fast with a communal meal at sunset. Fasting is not merely about physical deprivation, but about spiritual purification, about breaking free from the shackles of desire, about experiencing the pangs of hunger and thirst that afflict the less fortunate, and about cultivating a deeper appreciation for the blessings in one's life. The death of the Prophet Muhammad did not mark the end of his message, but rather the beginning of its extraordinary journey across the globe. Guided by the Quran and inspired by Muhammad's teachings, his followers, now led by his closest companions, embarked on a remarkable period of expansion and enlightenment. Within a century of Muhammad's death, Islam had spread from the Arabian Peninsula to encompass a vast empire stretching from Spain in the west to the Indus River in the east. This rapid expansion was fueled not only by military conquest, but also by the inherent appeal of Islam's message of monotheism, equality, and social justice, which resonated with people across diverse cultures and backgrounds. The early Islamic empires, particularly the Abbasid Caliphate, ushered in a golden age of intellectual and cultural flourishing. Building upon the knowledge of earlier civilizations, Muslim scholars made groundbreaking advancements in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, and the arts. Cities like Baghdad, Cordoba, and Cairo became centers of learning, attracting scholars and students from across the known world. Today, Islam stands as the world's second largest religion, with over 1.9 billion Muslims, representing a staggering diversity of cultures, ethnicities, and traditions. From the bustling streets of Jakarta to the serene mosques of Istanbul, from the vibrant communities of London to the arid deserts of Timbuktu, Islam continues to shape the lives of billions across the globe. The Quran, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad over 14 centuries ago, remains the central text of Islam, guiding the beliefs and practices of Muslims worldwide. Its message of submission to the one God, coupled with its emphasis on social justice, compassion, and ethical conduct, continues to resonate with people from all walks of life. Despite the challenges of modernity, Islam remains a vibrant and dynamic faith, constantly evolving and adapting to the changing circumstances of the world. Muslims today are engaged in a multitude of endeavors, from promoting interfaith dialogue and advocating for social justice, to contributing to the arts, sciences, and technology. They draw inspiration from their rich history and traditions, while also grappling with the complex realities of the 21st century. The story of Islam is a testament to the enduring power of faith, the transformative impact of one man's message, and the remarkable ability of human beings to find unity and purpose in shared beliefs and values. It is a story that continues to unfold, a journey of faith that began in the deserts of Arabia and has now reached every corner of the globe. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to support our channel. Peace and love to all of you.